I'm going to call Alex Stein up, who's the final witness who's testifying in person. I appreciate your patience. I know a lot of witnesses have been here since we started this morning, and we'll get to our virtual witnesses after this testimony. Good afternoon to you. You can begin your testimony. You have 3 minutes.
My name's Alex Stein. Thank you, Mr. McDuffie. And you've had a lot of people come up here and speak, including Heisman Trophy winner Mark Ingram. And everybody spoke in support of this bill. But I noticed something. Everybody here has a personal investment in this city. Now, when you look at Washington, D.C., what do you think about? Politics, right? We don't think about sports. So I think that you, by designating Washington, D.C. as a sports capital of America, is a travesty, because if we think about sports, let's think about a real team, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, right? We don't call the Redskins America's team. Your team here doesn't even have a name. You guys changed the name. Remember the Washington Wizards? You had to change the name from the Bullets to the Wizards. Then you had Gilbert Arenas in the arena with guns pointing at players. So, you know, if you think about what Washington, D.C. stands for and what they break records with, in 2023, they had nearly 500 homicides, breaking the previous record of most homicides ever in Washington, D.C. So I think if we're talking about records, Washington, D.C. would be more fitted to be designated as the crime capital of America and not the sports capital. And you have sports, you might not know this, Mr. McDuffie, but NASCAR. Y'all don't have any NASCAR in this town. Imagine Dale Earnhardt right now, the Intimidator, rolling in his black Chevy right now, thinking about somewhere in D.C. is going to become the sports capital of the world. When y'all don't even have representation when it comes to college football. You had one of the best players in the country sitting here, Blake Harper, I believe his name is, one of the top players. But he's talking about Howard basketball. Howard is a good basketball program, but y'all will never have a team that will compete for a football national championship in this city. And in Texas, where I'm from, football's king. And believe it or not, football is the #1 sport here as well. It's the most popular sport. And you look at the Ravens, they're 30 miles away. So when it comes to football, y'all don't even have the best team in a 30-mile radius. So it's an absolute joke that we're going to sit here and you guys are going to try to designate this town as a sports capital of America. I am in opposition of this 100%. It needs to be a real city like Dallas, Texas, that has real universities like SMU, that has been a top college football program and a top basketball program. And we need a freaking city that represents the whole entire country. When people think about Washington, D.C., all they think about is politics. And what does politics do? It divides us. Sports are supposed to be the ultimate unifier. Whether you're rich or poor, you get on the same court and you compete. So when we try to designate Washington, D.C. as the sports capital, I think it is an injustice to every other great city like Boston that has incredible sports history, New York City, even Los Angeles has great history. So you don't have to make it Dallas, because I would want Dallas, but I think that this is an actual travesty, and I know a lot of very important athletes have spoken in favor of this, but I truly have to say that I speak in opposition of naming Washington, D.C. the sports capital of America.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
I'm so fly, I'm aligned with the planes. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself, why would I make time for you lames? At all costs, cause I'm a boss. But break them off, yeah, gotta break them off.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Prime Time with Alex Stein. I'm your host, Alejandro Stein, and we got a wild show for you this evening. We got the one, the only Tony Ortiz from Current Revolt. We also have Jim Pfaff, am I saying that right? He's the president of the Conservative Caucus, and he once was Thomas Massie's chief of staff, which to me is a huge deal. And we got Blake Genta.
It's Genta. You got it right.
We don't know how to do it. We were just having this debate before the show. How do you say your last name? Because Tony was saying it wrong. I say Genta.
Ja-and-ta.
Ja-in-ta. That seems Genta.
There you go.
Still, I don't know if we got that right.
Alex.
Tony, did we get that right? I feel like I still haven't gotten that right.
Genta.
Ortiz is easy, you know. That's an easy name. Jim, what the hell kind of last name is Pfaff with P? Okay, you got P-F-A-F-F. I feel like there's 2 extra F's. Shouldn't it just be P-A-F?
You would think so, but it's my dad's fault. I can only go to my dad.
He's trying to be special.
Yeah, that's true. But like I told you before, I had a friend tell me one time, "Why don't you buy a vowel?" You know, it's like Pretty wild last name.
And you're currently in D.C., and you look at your resume, you got a great resume. I mean, you work for Tim Holskamp, am I saying that right, Congressman? So, Huelskamp. So you've been 2 chief of staffs on 2 different major congressmen. I mean, that seems like pretty important stuff. Tony, haven't you tried to be a chief of staff and stuff like that?
No, never.
But you've ran a campaign.
I've run a campaign.
Yeah, I'm just saying, can you imagine how hard that would be? I feel like when you're chief of staff, I feel like you're really doing all the heavy lifting, and the politician kind of just goes to the meeting, votes on something. Like, would you have to read the stuff they voted on? Like, what was your day-to-day like when you were chief of staff?
Well, when you're a chief of staff, you're not only just kind of the director of the entire staff, which makes up a legislative department and what happens in D.C., and then also you're in charge of what happens in the district, but you're also the chief political advisor, and so there's a whole lot that goes on, and so, yeah, there is a lot of heavy lifting.
Did you have to bury any dead bodies ever?
I can't say in public, but we can talk about it after the show.
With the chief of staff, do you think, would they be in charge of burying the body, Tony, if that...
I assume you have to, find the escorts, too, and make sure they get paid.
Well,
I'm not
sadly.
Yeah, are you right now? Blake, don't act like you've never bought an escort, Blake.
I refuse. That is not verifiable, okay? I will not have my name slandered.
All right, Blake. You seem like a good young man. I know you're not with any prostitutes, but Washington, D.C. is... He probably is. But we'll get into that later. Washington, D.C. is the swamp, though, so you've had to see some crazy stuff. So when your time on the Hill, I know you're on the Hill now, but when you're chief of staff, what other controversies did other people have? That their chief of staff had to kind of put out some hot fires, that you remember?
Well, they're kind of happening all the time, in a small way and a large way. But one of the things, and I don't know how often chiefs of staff get involved with this, but speaking of prostitutes or whatever, in 2017, there was a CNN article. They had put out what we knew was going on. There was $17 million paid out to deal with sexual abuse claims.
And this is a fund that they have just specifically for this, right?
It sits in the speaker's control, and they've been doing this for years. And the number's probably much larger. And the thing is, they're hiding what all these people that ever do that sort of thing have actually done. This is a way for them to save their election with your taxpayer dollars.
Well, and I can understand, I guess, why they'd want to protect him, but Matt Gaetz, right? In perfect example, I like Matt, but, they filled this whole ethics thing out, trying to make him look bad, but he wasn't convicted of a crime, right? So this is not, so when it comes to this ethics board or all this legal stuff, it helps them in criminal cases or just civil cases only?
Well, this would be to make arrangements to make sure that it doesn't go into a criminal case or a civil case. But here's the thing with Matt Gaetz, that was all adjudicated very deeply in the House Ethics Committee. So, I mean, I don't know everything that Matt actually did. I'm acquainted with Matt, and I like him a lot.
I like Matt, too, yeah.
But I don't know precisely what he did, but that was all adjudicated right in the Ethics Committee. The stuff I'm talking about was never brought out into the public at all, totally put behind the curtain.
It's a fund using taxpayer dollars to,
Yeah,
so it's taxpayer-funded, like sexual assault.
Oh, yeah, so
silencing.
here's a funny story.
Is it only sex crimes or is it all crimes?
There might be some other things, too, but
usually it was
yeah, and again, they didn't become crimes. They weren't adjudicated in courts. They were, but
there were sexual issues, potential sex crimes.
Well, here's an interesting story. So I was working for Tim Huelskamp, and when you're chief of staff, you're in charge of the entire budget. We had, during my time there, $1.7 to $2 million that was the entire budget. Tim told me, if you do not leave $250,000 at the end of it that we can return to the Treasury, I'm going to fire you at the end of the year. And we did that. But he wanted to make the point, let's turn back money, let's be frugal, turn back money to the Treasury. We found out after 4 years that money wasn't going to the Treasury at all.
And that was $1 million, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't going to the Treasury at all. It went into wherever they're taking this money out of that fund in the Speaker's control.
Wow.
Yeah, so once appropriated, it stays under the congressional umbrella.
So a politician grabs a secretary's butt, and then she gets mad, and they're like, just get in the fund.
Just pay her off and sign the agreement and be quiet. There's a lot of that's happened. More than I know about. I don't even know a lot of specific examples. We just know that this money was spent for that purpose.
Blake, what were you going to say? Look, you're about to do something over there.
Be like, everyone has a price, you know what I mean? Everybody has a price. I have a price, they have a price. We all have prices to pay, It's how it is in D.C. It's a disgusting, absolutely terrible swamp. It's filled with those swamp creatures.
Brandon, I think you do a better Trump impression than him. Come here real quick right now. Can you do your, or you can just do it on the mic. Let's go Trump for Trump. So,
Quite frankly, that was terrible. I think he needs to do a little better job. He's making me look silly. If I'm being honest, I hate looking silly, Alex.
see, that's how, okay, so Blake, now you got to go back.
He's absolutely terrible. If you-
No, he's so much better, Blake. You got to be like, yeah. See, I can't do impressions, and I like impressionists, so I like it. Blake is an impressionist, somewhat of one. And with your Trump, I feel like Brandon has the better Trump. Am I crazy?
I do like his a little
What
bit.
about you,
better.
Jim?
I think I'm with Brandon.
Oh my God.
I think I'm with.
Blake, what the hell, dude? Brandon's the one that catches you on the show, and he's got a better Trump than you, dude.
What can I say? It's a very complicated business.
No, we just lost the plot, but I love it. I love it. But I don't love D.C., Jim. So
No.
when you talk about like the corruption, okay, what are you over there now? What are you doing over there, fake Trump?
What are you talking about? I'm just chilling back,
Okay,
relaxing.
Good. My point is the swamp. I think that a lot of politicians go into office, or they go into politics with the most earnest, aspirations. They want to fix everything. But really, they all get there, right? And they all become, not all of them, but a lot of them alcoholics, issues like
Degenerates,
right?
Yeah.
So,
sex addicts.
like, if I'm trying to put my faith into the federal government, and I know I'm personal friends with congressmen, and some of them are bright, some of them, Thomas Massie's bright, but Thomas Massie can't fix everything. So how do we not be black-pilled? How do we not be hopeless when we know that even the people that get elected, like Jasmine Crockett, are freaking idiots that are calling all the shots in D.C.?
Dude, I have to tell you, I'm so black-pilled after spending 8 years on the Hill and working around this political thing. But, I still have some sense of hope. There are some good people that get elected. It's maybe 10 to 20% that are pretty fantastic. Yeah. But I've said for years, it scares me, the people that we elect to Congress. It really, really scares me. These people, so here's...
Blake, who's your favorite politician?
My favorite politician? Well, it's obviously the president. The
No,
guy's got more...
no.
Yeah,
Other
yeah.
than the president, who's your favorite?
Okay, other than the
Name
president,
3 current politicians.
3 current politicians. Okay, J.D. Vance, vice president. Okay, technically he's not in government.
That's
so I'm not
one.
going to say Elon Musk. I'm
No,
gonna say,
Elon Musk
I
is not elected. You give me 3?
I just said he does not count. Okay, if he was, then he would be on the list. So you got J.D. Vance. You got the guy who's running this state. You got...
What's his name?
My mind is blanking. My mind is blanking. I can't believe this.
Name
Let me give you a hint.
No, do not give him any hints. Do not give Blake any hints. I love Blake. I'm actually happy that we got Blake on the show. You're down 2. You need 2 more.
Okay, but you know what? You know who's one of my favorites just because I love to laugh at him? Gavin Newsom. The guy's hilarious.
There you go, see?
The guy's a spray tan banana with bleach blonde hair and has absolutely no idea what he's doing.
I like that. Now name a 3rd one.
Name a 3rd one. Name a 3rd one. You
Name
want me to name
Gavin,
a
you
3rd
name
one?
J.D. Vance. Name a 3rd politician that is currently in office. Any politician.
AOC.
And why do we like her?
Because she is hilarious.
Because she's a big booty Latina. That's why we like her. And we don't want her to get deported.
She's got the bug eyes, too. She's got those bug eyes.
Tony, I just got interviewed by Jubilee, and they're thinking about having me back on to do a debate about immigration. And I obviously said I would do it. And during the audition, or, whatever, not audition, but the interview, excuse me, they asked me my policy. And I've been saying this has been going viral. And they said, should it be easier to immigrate into our country? I said, not really, because I feel like there's so many loopholes with, these anchor babies and 90-day fiancé marriage scams. I feel like it's already easy enough. If you just have half a brain, you could probably scam somebody and get citizenship. But what I said is I do have an unorthodox plan. I say, if we're really going to deport everybody, we should deport every illegal immigrant, even if whether they have a criminal history or not. But the women can stay because women are not violent. And they were laughing at that. And I always say this joke, big booty Latinas. But is that I know I said that as a joke, but I feel like that might actually be a good plan.
I mean, you'd have to are we talking about trans women too, or
no, trans get to go. If you're transgender, if you're on any sexual hormones, and if you're transgender, you got to go. They're on the first one. They're on their own plane. I'm saying, would it be that bad if we had a bunch of big booty Latinos, abuelas? Like, are they going to commit a crime? Are they really bad?
I mean, the obesity rate in Mexico is pretty high, so
the diabetes.
You're talking big booties.
What if you like big girls?
I mean. You like them big.
I like them all sizes. I like them every size, yeah.
Yeah. You're an equal opportunity.
I'm an equal opportunist. So, I mean, what do we say? I mean, is that not the conservative position that illegal women?
I don't think it's conservative. I think it's a little degenerate. It's a degenerate position. But
Is
I mean,
it degenerate? No, because how is it? No, is it degenerate because women commit less crime than men on average, statistically?
well, isn't there that statistic like in relationships, like lesbian relationships, like the most domestic violence?
Yeah, but we're
so-
talking about even. I'm just talking.
So
about,
are you booting the lesbians too?
No, I'm talking about women and men.
all women in general.
Jim, does he not? Is Tony just trying to just be annoying to be annoying? You know
I think
what
so.
I'm saying. Women and men. Do women or men commit more crimes statistically,
Well,
Tony?
men, of course.
Okay, so if we got rid of the people that statistically commit more crime, but we let the women stay who do commit a little crime, but statistically compared to men is much less, is that bad? And then that makes Tom Homan's job easier if we're not worried about the women.
I mean, I guess I don't think you're going to have a big group behind you on this one, though.
Jim, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think your statistics are pristine. It is absolutely true.
It was correct statistics. I'm a statistician.
I'm not saying that to suck up. I'm telling you, it's just a fact.
Thank you. I wish Tony would suck up a little bit.
But it's a decent idea. Listen, you got to make a choice somewhere. Like the priorities have got to be there. When Tom Homan is reporting, I think this week there was like 357 deportations.
Which is not enough, right?
Well, yeah, we got 5 to 10 million people that we're dealing with.
21
here.
million, I think Trump said over the last 4
Exactly.
years.
The number is really hard to put out. But I'm telling you, that at least you got to start somewhere. And anyone that came here illegally has broken a crime.
I agree.
So, but you got to start with the worst stuff. I mean, Homan's doing it the right way, and there are going to be mistakes. I just saw something today. There was someone who actually was a citizen who they detained for a while and found out. I mean, you're going to have mistakes like that, and they're moving fast and moving quick. But no, you start with men. I totally agree with you. And then we can get to the women
How
thing.
about this? If a woman has a criminal record, they got to go too.
Well, you saw they're deporting.
absolutely.
They're deporting this Korean student, is a woman who was protesting.
Yeah.
And I guess she got arrested too. And then now they're deporting her. And I guess I don't know. I hadn't really followed the story. 'Cause it's not Texas related, but she took off, and now they're like on a hunt for her. She's like a 20-year-old Korean woman.
But took off like she's hiding in America.
Yeah, she's like hiding in America.
Is that the same
guess.
person who hit that person with the bike lock?
No, that's
No, we're going to
different,
get into that.
different
But
training.
before we get into that, I got to talk about one thing. This is not an ad read, but I was recently, do I have any graphics for you? Full screen one. Yella Beezy, Dallas's most popular rapper, Grammy Award winning rapper. He was charged with a murder for hire. Well, I don't know. I guess he's just charged for murder, but it was a murder for hire issue where MO3, another popular rapper in this city, was gunned down. And the evidence that they have, I went to court. I'm a bail bondsman, and my dad had me go down there. The attorney that's representing Yella Beezy, his son actually goes to Highland Park. I had to talk to the attorney, and we're trying to work out a way to get Yella Beezy out of jail. You guys know I got Charleston White out of jail. He loves my efforts when it comes to the bail bond business, but I'm also trying to get Yella Beezy out. But what we did learn is that Yella Beezy, I believe he has a beatable case, but I want to get your guys' opinion. The evidence that they used to charge him, there's a person that killed the guy. They have the killer, right? And he's in jail. He's only serving 8 years, which kind of seems low for killing a guy. But he gave the state, or the city of Dallas, the county, text messages that came after the murder of Yella Beezy allegedly paying him. So they have no correspondence before the murder. They have nothing like, hey, I want you to 86 this guy. But they do have something like, hey, I need to pay you this money. Here's the money. So they think that that's, I know. And the attorney's like, oh, I'm going to beat this. But that was enough to charge Yella Beezy, a Grammy Award winning rapper. Like I said, a platinum rapper, big time guy. You guys have all heard of his songs. Even if you don't know it, you've heard it on the radio. He's been in a lot of popular songs. So what do you think is going to happen with that? I know you guys aren't that familiar, but what do you think, Jim, after the fact?
If it's as you described it, and there's nothing before, then that does actually put a real cloud on it.
Is he going to be paying him for anything?
I mean, it seems like that's a pretty solid case for the defense. I have no idea about guilt, but that's a solid case for the defense, I would say, based upon what you've described to me.
Yeah. Blake, what do you know? Anything about Yella Beezy?
Not much, but if it's celebrity, they get the celebrity privilege.
Well, but sometimes I can go against you, like in this, because I feel like he's a celebrity that might even be holding him to a higher standard because they want to catch a big fish, right?
I mean, you'd think, but there's so many celebrities, like the Epstein files are starting to show. They get away with a lot of stuff.
Are they showing? Because I'm not seeing this.
I know, like they should be showing it, but like you see these celebrities, they get away with a lot of things. I mean, I really hope that justice prevails. You know, I'm a guy who believes in eye for an eye and due process and all that other
You
stuff.
Muslim? Isn't that in the Quran?
No, I think that's an Old Testament. That's a Judeo-Christian value.
Good, good,
It means equal punishment for the crime that is committed. Let the punishment fit the crime.
Like, do you think the terror attacks on September 11th, 2001 were perpetrated by people within the United States government?
Well, you know, there's a very good chance that could be true. It would have benefited the U.S. greatly when it comes to geopolitics. I mean, morally and ethically, probably not, but on the standpoint of America getting in on that nice Middle Eastern oil, because we went into Iran. We should have gone into Iran. We were going after Saddam Hussein when it was Osama bin Laden we should have been going after.
I know, and we created the Mujahideen.
It was completely ridiculous. You have this Texan in the
Do
White
the George
House.
Bush. Do this is George Bush. Then say weapons of mass destruction. We got the weapons of mass destruction.
We got weapons of mass destruction. We're going after them terrorists. My daddy, he knows a thing or two about terrorists. We're going to go in, and I'm going to kick ass. I'm going to dodge shoes, and I'm going to kick ass at the same
That's
time.
the best George Bush impression
pretty
I've
good.
ever heard. That was the
I like this guy right here. I found my stride right there.
nailed it. Quit, George. Chill out. Okay, you obviously worked in politics, and now you're in the Conservative Caucus, Jim. But when it comes to, like, you know, conspiracies, you brought up Epstein. That's why I bring up 9/11. Now, what do you really think? Are we ever going to get the truth of all these new stuff? JFK released these files. Like, is Trump really going to give us transparency? And I think he is probably trying, but I even think that a lot of it is out of his control personally. But what do you think, Jim?
Well, none of it's out of his control based upon his actual authorities laid out in the Constitution.
Can he go to the FBI and be like, give me everything you have? I mean, can he do that? Like,
He can, but then, you know, people have got to go do the work because there are a lot of files and they're in different places. I do think, actually, we're going to learn a whole lot about MLK and JFK. And I don't know what's happening with Epstein, but I'm told from people on the inside that I talk to that it's actually going to happen. We are going to learn a whole lot. The Epstein one is probably even more explosive than the other two.
But I feel like we almost know everything with Epstein, Tony. I mean, we know who was on the flight logs. We know that Bill Clinton was on there. So, like, what is there going to be in there? That Bill Clinton did bury a 7-year-old girl in Little St. James Island? I mean, like, what, you know,
Isn't there still a lot of questions as to how he made his wealth?
Yeah, we have no
so like
idea.
I think that's
I
a
don't
big.
know how he died either.
I don't think he
I think like finding out like where he got his money and how he was funded is probably going to be leading to a lot of more questions and
I
probably
think it was Saudi Arabia, I believe.
who knows.
It was
A lot of oil there, too.
Remember when all these political celebrities came out with that binder and they were super excited thinking they got something
You didn't
special?
we talked about
Yeah,
that.
so
a little
full
bit.
crap.
Yeah, they were jumping for joy.
Real quick, let's go, and we don't want to go too deep into this, but full screen 3, you talk about these influencers that work. I think those influencers that got the binder, they worked for this company, right? Influenceable?
I mean, some of them had like not contracts, but they worked in partnerships with them for certain
Tony,
programs.
you and I have actually argued this.
Yeah.
That, we've argued this multiple times, and I haven't ever actually worked for Influenceable. They've texted me years ago, but I'm just not on their text list anymore. But what they do is they pay conservative influencers to tweet about a popular movie, a popular song,
Policy.
Policy, of course, lots of policy. And Tony, you don't like that because you said it's okay for the people to get paid, but you don't like that they're not disclosing that it's an ad.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, so I'm a big car guy, right? And so when a car blog or journalist goes to review a car, like from Toyota, right? They'll say, okay, I'm going to do this review on this Toyota Supra. And then they'll preface it with saying, by the way, Toyota flew me out. They bought me dinner. They
a
put
lot
me
of
out
times they'll say they didn't buy me this. I'm doing this.
Yeah, exactly. So people disclose,
People
right?
do that, but not every review. But I do see that. Okay, there's a lot of
And
reviews
so
that do that, yes.
I think that when it comes to political policy, like if you're being compensated by a lobbyist group or organization that's pushing policy, you should absolutely disclose, like, hey, I'm being paid to give you this political position. The biggest one recently was Big Soda, right? Representative Keith Self, a congressman for Texas, has a bill out to ban SNAP food stamps, SNAP payments for soda. And you know, a lot of these political celebrities Influenceable was hired, and they put out a bid, and a lot of these political celebrities were being paid to kick back against that policy.
No, but you're okay with them getting paid.
Absolutely, of course. Like, I'm a capitalist, of course. Like, people, if you build up a base, you should be able to capitalize and profit off of that base. I just think that if you're doing it for politics, especially, you should disclose that, hey, I'm being paid for my opinion that I'm giving you right now.
What do you think, Jim, about this? Did you see this? All this Big Soda.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Had a big, long phone conversation with Nick Sorter about this.
Yeah, and I love Nick, but I'm saying I don't think it's that. I get how you want people to clarify whether or not they're being paid. But I think like on a tweet about soda, I personally don't think you should.
Soda policy. It's not just soda. It's not like just I like this soda. It's delicious.
Jim,
Well, so there are lobbying regulations that may or may not apply in this particular case. So, for example, I run a 501c4 organization.
So it can't be political.
Well, no. So what they're
C4
talking
can?
about
I
is
know, but-
legislation, which is different than the campaign politics into things. So, for example, our organization spent $8 million in pro-Trump independent expenditures last year. And we had to report all of that because we were endorsing a specific candidate. We didn't have to disclose all of our donors there, but there were a few, some of the upper level ones we had to. But anyway, we just had to let people know we were doing it and put disclaimers on our television ads, radio ads, everything. So there's a place that you have to do some disclosure. When you get into lobbying for actual legislation,
Not a campaign for legislation, though.
then the disclosure comes in not because you advocated publicly, but because you went directly to a congressman to ask for the vote. That's the line there. So they don't, that's where the question would be about that kind of disclosure. And also, they probably would be concerned about, well, should we have them disclosing that we're doing this or whatever?
What do you think the ethical issue is? Do you have the same?
No, I agree. I think that there needs to be some means when it's legislation. Although I would like to see.
What about a movie, Tony? Because they do.
I'd like to see people do it on a movie.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
stuff
like a
that,
movie.
but-
Do people care you're shilling them? Because that was a big one. They were shilling.
Lots of movies.
They were shilling a lot of. I'm not going to name them,
Yeah.
but they were shilling movies, and they weren't disclosing. And it was so funny
You can
because
tell because they all read the same thing.
they all read the same
Yeah,
script,
yeah,
and they suddenly, before this movie's not even out yet, but they've got this HD 4K resolution full-length clip of it, and somehow they attained it. They're like, oh, this is a great movie. And it's like, how did you get that clip? Oh, you were paid to promote that. And I don't really care.
I feel like
about
it's almost
that.
kind of insinuated when you're making. I know people.
There's a lot of dumb people on online, and they can't connect the dots that like, oh, this political celebrity with 500,000 followers is taking money to promote something. Like they can't connect those dots. So
But
I
like
think you
Tom
need to make it
Brady, when he
honest.
does an ad for Nike or whatever, he doesn't have to say I'm being paid by Nike. You just kind of know, right?
Right, but that's different. He's not doing political policy, right? And these people aren't like it's not so obvious, right? Like a tweet is not as obvious as like you're going on TV and you're doing a commercial and it's like 30 seconds of just wearing Nike outfits and like promoting Nike, right? It's less obvious. If I'm like an Ian Miles Chong who's like, oh yeah, all of a sudden, like, what is it, like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, he was anti-taxpayer funded soda, and then all of a sudden this campaign comes out and he puts out this tweet.
Wait, I didn't see that. Were there old tweets where he's?
Yeah, there's old tweets. It's on my
No,
website. He's like anti-taxpayer funded soda. Then all of a sudden, like last week, he's like, we should stop government overreach. Like taxpayer funded soda is probably okay. Like it's like, come on, give me.
I'm so crazy. I believe SNAP benefits should be able to be eligible for hot food, and I know there's only certain issues where you can buy hot food with it. But like if you go to the grocery store, you can buy the hot food there, but you can't use a SNAP benefit at like McDonald's. Honestly, I know people are gonna say that's stupid, but I don't even give a damn if they use it at McDonald's. I mean,
I'm
this is
against
why.
it.
But this
I'm
is why I'm against it.
Yeah.
This is why I'm against it, and I want to get Jim's opinion on this because I know people who've worked in the car business. I have a Fro, a guy who worked for my dad 20 years. He gets paid a little bit, but he's also on a little government assistance, and he doesn't do this, but he goes and uses SNAP benefits and buys soda. But he talks about how people do all these SNAP scams where they'll have a bunch of SNAP cards and they purposely go buy soda and then they can go sell it to a Chinese restaurant or go sell it to
Gas
a
station.
gas station.
Gas station,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
with
the
the cases of water too.
So that's what I'm saying. Cases of water, because you can resell it. The expiration date lasts a while. It's easy. That's an easy transferable thing where you can turn government money, SNAP benefits, into actual cash. And I don't like that. And I'm against that. But it's like it's hard to do that with McDonald's because like you kind of have to eat it within an hour. You know what I mean?
Right.
I could be wrong, but the SNAP program was started for nutrition. Like
It
it's
was.
the people that are
Sustenance.
underprivileged.
Supplemental nutrition assistance.
exactly.
There's something I gotta say real quick.
Go ahead, Blake.
You said the McDonald's goes bad in an hour. Have you seen a McDonald's?
You know what
double
I
cheeseburger?
mean? I know the burger lasts
It's like 10 years later, it's still good.
But I'm just saying, like hot food, you can't go like take a sub sandwich and really go sell it to a gas station to resell the sub
Right,
sandwich.
right.
But you can resell a 30-pack of soda. So Jim, where do you stand on the SNAP benefits?
I had to.
Well, first of all, there is no constitutional authority to even do welfare,
So you're saying welfare is
that
unconstitutional?
should be happening in the states. We don't need that happening.
That
out of
is
the federal
true. I
government.
do agree. I do agree.
So
with that.
as a principle, now the political political is challenging on that, but we certainly, I think, need to move towards that, just like what we're doing with the Department of Education. But as a matter of policy, this is another reason why. It's so prone to fraud and misuse as well. That might not be fraud, but just misuse. So I absolutely believe that every sugary drink should be knocked out of the SNAP program. I wouldn't go so far as say you can't go to McDonald's, but then how can you tell McDonald's you can't?
Well, I don't
use
think you
the
can use it on
sugary drink?
McDonald's now. But
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But just to go with it. But to go in the grocery store, these items are so, like, you have UPC barcodes that are publicly
You can
noted.
tell, yeah, the system
You can
knows.
break this down in a way to certain groups of foods to make sure that you get stuff that's generally nutritious. Like, you don't have to dig down into the red number 5, you know, that RFK talks about, which I agree with him, it's bad. But you don't have to go down that far. But what you need to do is have actually nutritional stuff coming in. Coke is not a nutritional supplement at all. By the way, if you go far enough back, much of our welfare benefits were things that the government was obtaining from farmers and from manufacturers.
With surplus?
That they were giving directly rather than throwing money at them.
They're skimming off the top.
And think about how much food waste we have in this day and age. I remember I worked on the sets in Hollywood, and I would always, like, after work, I would just, like, they would basically let you take boxes of food home because they have craft services there. They couldn't donate the food to homeless people because a homeless person got sick, ate the food, they donated it and sued them. They lost a bunch of money, so they have to throw it away. And there's so many instances. I watch these dumpster dive TikToks. You guys ever seen that? Where they go behind a grocery store, and it's just it's a literal dump truck or dumpsters full of food that just got thrown away that's in the box. So there's so much food waste. So do you think we should have a whole overhaul and maybe get that wasteful food and donate it instead of giving money instead of because we realize there are going to be people that are poor, and I know we don't love social services, but they kind of do need to exist, right? I mean,
there's a place for a safety net. Listen, you need to get away from cash payments as much as possible. You need to find ways for people to get direct money. One of the biggest reasons to not have the government do it at all is that if churches and nonprofit organizations that cared were involved with this, you actually would have a better delivery system. You'd know who really needed it or who was just playing games, and they would have the freedom to say, no, you're just playing a game here. Just go. You need to take care of yourself.
But isn't the Catholic Church that organization right in D.C.? Aren't they responsible for doing
charities?
I know, but aren't they doing all the illegal immigration, or aren't they?
Are.
They're facilitating a lot of it.
It's really corrupt and sad. I mean, in the past years, I'm the oldest guy on the couch here. The Catholic Charities was actually a fantastic organization. Yeah. It's really gone down.
Catholic Church, and I want to say this too, because a lot of people that hate on the Catholic Church, like, oh, they're all pedophiles. Yeah. That's not true. There is some bad stuff that happens, but it's actually less than what people say.
Oh, totally.
I get those debates. People are like, oh, if you go to a Catholic church, you're going to get molested. Like, yes, it's happened. It is bad, but it's not as prevalent as
you go to a
like
public school, you're going to get molested.
That's what I'm saying. You're more likely at the public school. So it's it is possible, of course, in any situation as church, it is possible for there to be some sort of abuse, but it's not as rampant as people say. I just want to defend the Catholic Church a little bit. Not that I'm trying to white knight for them, but I don't like that.
How much are you paid by the Catholic Church?
I'll take it. Listen, if the Pope wants to send me some money, I'll cash a check. But
what's the nexus there? Think about this. When you go to, I always tell people in these major disasters, don't send money to Red Cross. Right? They're getting
Red Cross is the worst. The CEO of the Red Cross is on a private jet every day.
Gosh, and they have like 60% of their money. Only 40% or less of their money goes to actual services. But you talk about Salvation Army, Samaritan's Purse, and a couple others. Like, these people don't receive that government money. I think Salvation Army a little bit. But they actually have both a ministry purpose and a thoughtful purpose. They're much better at delivering those services.
I like the Salvation Army. They sell the clothes. You go there. I've always loved thrift store. I'm saying, I do believe of the charities, the Salvation Army. And because I've actually gone and shopped at these thrift stores since I was a little kid, the one on Inwood, growing up there, going there. I remember my mom, it used to open at 8, and she used to take me there before school sometimes because she'd be like, oh, they have good furniture, yada, yada, yada. My point is, we used to go there as a kid growing up. And the Salvation Army on Inwood is actually really nice. But you talk to the people in there, and their lives did get changed. The person that was checking you out, it's like, oh, I used to be a methamphetamine addict, and now I've been clean for 6 years. So when you see that in practice, like, well, this is helping. I know one person that actually, got help.
Well, and for those who may not know why that's the case, everybody that works at the Salvation Army, in any position, they have to raise their own support.
Yeah.
Like, they're dedicated to this. They're actually focused on that. This is the problem with government. You don't have that. I'm sure there are some government employees that work in the welfare system that really do care about people, but the reality is you do not, by and large, get that kind of a person.
Well, speaking of I guess we weren't talking about health, but we're talking about SNAP benefits and talking about the government. But guys, let's be honest, we're not getting any younger. And if you want to look and feel your best, you need to check out Pure Health Research. They have 45 premium health supplements designed to help with every health goal. Whether it's boosting your energy, trimming belly fat, supporting healthy blood sugar, pumping your testosterone up, or even reducing swelling in your legs, not your arms, Pure Health Research Supplement Store has you covered. Each formula is crafted with natural, non-GMO ingredients, backed by clinical research and manufactured right here in the United States of America. And here's the best part, guys. Pure Health Research is offering you, yes, you, an exclusive 35% discount. All you got to do is go to purehealthresearch.com and use the coupon code ALEX at checkout. And they have a 365-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying something new. So why wait? Head over to purehealthresearch.com now and explore their 45 amazing supplements and save 35% before the deal ends with the coupon code ALEX. Don't miss this chance to start your year feeling your best. And that was a paid ad. Does that make you feel better?
It does.
That
See, it was very
I
obvious.
paid for that ad.
It's very obvious. Is that where you got this?
Have you ever done methane
is
blue?
this?
I've been taking it. It's like crazy.
My friend Caroline does. I think they're freaking
So do
crazy.
you notice anything?
I actually, yes, I've been peeing like a racehorse and my pee is green.
So that's what you notice. That's the benefit is.
Well, I have more energy.
Smurf pee.
And I've lost about 25 pounds in the past since January.
Yeah, but that's the Ozempic.
His suit
I'm
was
not
white.
on Ozempic, but I'm on that. I'm on methylene blue. And I've been doing red light therapy. Joe Rogan, even though he's not probably he does know a lot about health, but, you know, I don't necessarily want to look like Joe Rogan. No offense, Joe. I mean, he is jacked up, but
Why? He's jacked.
he's jacked, but he has the testosterone. You know how you get the...
Bloat? He's always been big, though. He's like,
No, but I'm saying his stomach. Go look at his jiu-jitsu videos, like with Eddie Bravo
Yeah, yeah,
from 10 years ago. His waist is like very thin, and now you look at his pictures. His waist, you know,
he's just like getting old.
no, the testosterone makes your organs get. But you know what I'm talking. Are you kidding? You don't know what I'm
Does
talking about?
testosterone do that? It makes your like
Yes.
bloat?
You never heard
HGH
about
gut
this?
is what
You're
they
fake
call
news.
it.
What? Testosterone gut. You've never heard of this?
I think
This is hey, show my computer.
like liberal
He's
media.
50 plus.
You've seen
That's
this.
what it is.
Sorry.
Is that test or is that something else?
I'm saying this is it's a common side effect of testosterone that your stomach gets like this. I swear. But you can take it down. We'll get into that later. We only have 28 minutes left in the show, and we got a lot to get into. So now, I don't know if you saw this, Jim, but recently there was a transgender that was on campus at the University of Texas at Dallas. It's in Richardson. Confusing. I hate saying that. And they grabbed a bike lock and they swung and they assaulted and hit the Turning Point chapter president, Paige Newman. And Paige was able to go on Fox News. So do we have like that little snippet? Which one is that? Yeah, I saw one. So this is a good thing. They got beat up by a transgender, but then they get to go on Ingram Angle. So that was just a little snippet. We just kind of want to show you. So it ended up being a good thing, but this transgender, Linwan Tim Tam, their name is Tim Tam, right? Tim Tam
Tim
Win.
Tong.
Tim Tom Win. And this is Tim Tom Win. Tim Tom got a...
Tammy.
Tammy. What,
Alyssa.
do you have a Chinese accent that you could... what was you...
Oh, Tim Tommy. I'm going to get canceled for that, but...
He's Vietnamese, not
Going,
Chinese.
yeah, please keep going.
Oh, yeah, Tim Tommy. We got the cream of some young guy.
Oh my gosh, I like this guy, Brandon. This guy's good. He's a keeper. All right.
Canceled.
So, yeah, we were going to get canceled for sure. So Timmy Tam Win decided to take a bike lock and assault somebody. And Tony did some great investigative journalism and found Tim Tam's phone numbers and their contact. But why, Jim, are these trans people? And I hate to just lump them and overgeneralize them, but when it comes to school shootings, when it comes to a lot of issues in sports, these trans people, they're very violent. Why is that, Jim?
You know, I don't know enough to determine if all of the drug treatments that they do and hormone treatments that they do contribute to that. But
Isn't that obvious, though?
it seems obvious to me. I'm just not a doctor. But what I do know is this. One of the arguments for accepting this lifestyle was that, oh, well, there's going to be lower suicide. And suicide rates are going up like
Highest
crazy.
they've ever been, I believe.
So there's an emotional, psychological
lie, very
component
big lie.
in this. And so it seems obvious that it would come out in anger like that, of that nature.
Have you ever been the victim of a transgender, Blake?
In the sense of them attacking me?
Yes.
No, I've never been
Have
attacked
you
by
ever been
one.
tricked by one? Have you ever like made out with what you thought was?
Oh no, not at all. No, I've been with the same woman since college, and before that, I've had, we're engaged. We're gonna get married next year. It's gonna be a great time,
I'm going to be officiating that wedding. Okay, so we're going to call. We're
I'll
going
be honored to.
to. Thank you. Yes, you would. All right,
got
let's.
an ego.
I got the biggest. I pimp on a blimp, dude. have an ego for 5 minutes. Now we're going to call Tim Tam Win. Let's see if they answer. They answered.
in jail.
I think,
Well, that was disappointing.
Well, you should have the voicemail.
yeah, no, we'll have, we got to do it next. Was that a block? Or do you think dang, that was a legit number. Wait, so if they block you, well, that was Tim Tam. Okay, so come over here and give a histrionic thing. Do not say anything sexual about Christian and God. Okay, please say that you're from Vietnam and
You can call me at 555-1949, okay? I don't know area code that good, but you call me now, okay? Just use number. Please call back. Thank you.
that was great, Blake. That's your best impression. Give it up for Blake.
That is good.
Now, Tony, we have to ask you a legal question, and this is definitely for Jim. Oh crap! I actually tried to FaceTime him.
That would have been awkward.
I don't want to
Who's
call
that
them,
guy?
I don't want to call them so much because I do not want to harass Tim Tam. I do not, but I would like to speak to Tim Tam because Tim Tam did assault Jimmy, one of our producers on the show. So I'm only reaching out in the hopes that they would actually come and sit down and have a conversation with us. But am I risking even kind of being in the harassment zone by leaving them? I think this is our fourth message we've left them.
Is it the fourth? I don't know.
Can we get legal on that?
Yeah, Brandon, can you ask the legal department? Because that's not very reassuring.
Yeah,
I'll check with legal.
Voicemails for Alyssa, Tammy, Tim Tang?
Yes.
I didn't know this.
I've left probably, maybe I've left
The
6.
phone's probably off. I think he's in jail still. I think he's still in the county jail.
Is that true? Did you check?
He
before
was
the
in
show?
there like yesterday, I think, or at least the day before.
Oh, wow.
This is a
explains
felony.
why he's
He
not
got hit with
picking
a
up his
felony charge. He
phone.
tried to take a cop's gun, and it was like a
Really?
10K. It was a 10K bond. So unless his dad or somebody.
It only
bailed him
costs
out.
1, but you'd pay 10%.
Yeah, you pay 1.
Yeah, you would know.
So some of
Would
that's
you bond him out?
1,000.
Would I bond Tim Tam? Would I bond him
No,
out?
your company. Or,
No, I'm just saying me, like, because I'm personally connected, yes. Normally, no.
you take it?
But because he's like, I would love to be responsible for his bond, because also if he doesn't follow the bond procedures, not that I could do anything cruel and unusual, but if he didn't check in, within a long enough time, I could go off the bond. So, I really don't have that
just
much.
going off the bond.
Well, what you can do is, like, if I post a bond and my client does not stick to the restrictions, whether checking in or something, you can actually go off the bond and you can withdraw the bond, and then immediately they'd have a warrant for their arrest. So the cops usually won't go and pick them up immediately, but if they get pulled over or anything, then they would go to jail. So you can actually go off a bond, believe it or not, once you write it. But that's like bad business.
But you'd bond out. Tim Tong, China.
I would get Tim Tom Chom out of jail. And I want to get Tim Tom Chom out of jail. So if you're watching this, Tarrant County or any county, know that I'm only reaching them for business purposes to get them out of jail and help them. I only want to help you, Tim Tam. And I said this on the show. I would get them out. Tim Tam, I would bond you out. I would charge you. Normally, it's 10%. I would give you the Stein discount, 2%. I would do 2%, $200. You can get out of jail. That's right. I would write it. But part of it, you need to come on the show and face Jimmy and apologize to Jimmy. But yes, I would get you out. So if Tim Tam's family is seeing this, call me, 214-216-6169. Okay, Jim, we got about 15 minutes left in the show. We're talking about this trans arrest, this and that, but what's the bigger problem? Like, why are more kids trans than ever? Isn't that the problem we need to stop instead of just throwing one transgender in jail?
We're normalizing it. There's literally recruitment that's happening. I mean, we've got these odd, very sexual books in schools that teachers are promoting in certain school
Do you know
districts.
any names of them? Because I'd like to buy some.
Yeah, really. And this is a real problem. I mean, it's because that we have this attempt in society right now, and schools are being government-run institutions,
Yeah.
are a place where kids just can't escape from it. We've got this thing in society where normal things are not praised and honored, and because of political purposes and wanting to build constituencies that Democrats try to do, and they always bifurcate things. So we're promoting this thing. When actually what we should be promoting is marriage and family.
Yeah, cool.
That's what we've always
Absolutely.
done.
Yeah. But Jim, when did you see the change? Because you've been in politics for a long time. I mean, did you see that, like, you saw Hillary Clinton was against gay marriage, 15 years ago? Yeah. When did this shift happen, in your opinion, where we became woke, for lack of a better word, ultra woke?
Yeah. The whole religious right movement got its ascendancy in the 1990s, and there was a very strong both grassroots component, and as well as you had well-known evangelistic and even non-evangelistic, like Dr. James Dobson, who was just a psychologist, but Christian conservative, that was a strong message that went out to a Christian community that really did believe in normal things. What's happened since then? There's a great book by a friend of mine named Megan Basham called Shepherds for Sale. She documents how Soros organizations, Soros is an atheist, right?
Yeah, well, he's the worst. He's probably a Satanist, but go ahead.
And Pierre Omidyar,
He did work for the Nazis.
Pierre Omidyar, who's one of the founders of eBay, they've actually put money into progressive movements going into the Christian community.
They're trying to turn the church gay.
Absolutely,
Isn't that so crazy? You walk by all these Methodist church now, and they got a rainbow flag. I'm like, what is this? What is going on? And I'm not even anti-gay. Honestly, I don't even care if you're gay, but it's like, dude, the church has a gay flag. That doesn't make sense. I mean, so you're telling me that this was a coordinated effort to turn Jesus into a homosexual, basically?
Well, I'm sure in some cases, yes, that's literally the effort. But it's really just to listen. The Christian movement in the '90s became so strong,
that they were afraid,
so powerful that people like Soros and others wanted to undermine it if they could and break it down by injecting false ideologies and using empathy. Like I am having these arguments all the time with the David Frenches of the world and Russell Moore, who runs Christianity Today, and others. I'm in the middle and engaging in this. And these guys are spending a lot of time building empathy, say, for immigrants. And it's like, listen, we should have empathy for any human being. We should care about people. But sorry, it's not our country's fault that their country screwed up, and it's not my fault as a citizen that Joe Biden decided to open the doors wide. Yes, we should be sending people back. They should be going back to their home countries, and we should be encouraging those countries to do right by them so that they can build their lives, they can have an economic future. The problem is the other countries, it's not us. But we twist this around by twisting the argument. And it happens in the church, it happens outside the church, and it's a real problem. That's one of the reasons we're struggling with this.
I like that you bring up other countries, because they say America was built by slaves. Maybe that's partially true, but they say our biggest problem is white supremacy. You'll hear that from Don Lemon. But I have a video. If you can see my computer, pull my computer up. I don't know if I can make it full screen. This is a woman traveling to Austria, and you can't see the woman, so I'll let you guys make some inferences about, well, I guess you guys are going to figure out what she said. So how do I start? How do I make this start from the beginning? Do I refresh it? Can you hear that?
You have the mute off there? No.
It's a beautiful country.
There's no
Austria.
sound? Damn.
Rich in culture.
Hold on, let's try.
Unfortunately,
What about
that's
now?
where that evil
Nothing?
little corporal came
The
from.
sound icon on the bottom right.
Yeah, I know,
bottom
I hit
right.
it. I hit it. And then
You're a boomer, man. You can't.
I know.
I'm gonna ring tech support
Wow,
real quick.
I had this pulled up. Here, I can probably pull it up on my phone, worst case scenario. Okay, I'll just play the video. Now, let's hear the audio on my, hold on, let me find it. It's probably something I'm doing, guys, so don't even worry
I
about
can
it.
provide some Austrian
old, man.
Yeah, no,
audio on there.
You guys will be, it's the audio that's really the most important part. I probably should have, this is my fault, probably should have done this a little bit before, but you guys know how we do stuff. Okay, so this is a woman visiting.
A black person I want.
Okay, so this is a woman. I don't know if you could show us and maybe put the video on the side. Could you show us too?
Now we know, by the way.
Yeah, now you know. I forgot that she says in the first thing. Okay.
Oh, boy.
So let's hear the audio,
So you
because
put your phone on
I
silent.
know that was a long segue, but this is a woman traveling to Vienna, Austria, and she talks about Vienna, and I don't even want to ruin anything. So this is a great video. Hold on. Okay, if I can make it play. Oh my gosh, now it's not playing on my dang phone. Oh my gosh, what?
Got an Android?
I got a damn iPhone.
You're a pre-production genius.
I know. I had it pulled up. It's not. Look. This video is working fine, right?
It's a conspiracy.
Oh my gosh, this is so annoying.
Oh, my God.
I mean, we got that beautiful statue. There it goes.
Okay.
Austria. Let me just say,
Okay, hold on.
why, as a black person, I wouldn't go back to Vienna, Austria. Let me just
Vienna.
say this: it's not for the blacks. I was there for 3 whole days, and guess how many black people I saw? 3 total. And one of them was me in the mirror. And don't even get me started on the food. Bland, dry, unseasoned. Y'all know I try to give European food a chance, but at this point, it's a losing battle. If you love museums and architect, Vienna is cute or whatever. But if that ain't your thing, baby, there's nothing else for you here? Nothing. I was just out there existing. So why did I even go? Child, I was just trying to be different, step out my comfort zone. But let's just say I stepped right back in. Vienna checked off the list, never again. Is this a place you would try?
See, when I travel internationally, the best part about traveling internationally is I go to places where people don't look like me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to see people that look like me.
Hey, but real quick though, that is true. That's why you go to these international places to see different people.
Yeah.
You know, if she wanted
Right.
to see the same people, she should have just gone to Atlanta. No offense, but I'm saying go to Atlanta. Can you do an impersonation of her voice real quick? And you were in
Yeah.
Vienna. Hold on.
Oh my God, I'm here in Vienna, and there are like no African Americans. It's almost like I'm in Northern Europe, and they haven't had the immigration problem that all the other countries have.
That's perfect, guys. You're just crushing it
I mean,
tonight.
it's Northern Europe. What do you expect to find?
I agree with you.
This is the land of mayonnaise.
Without the audio on that video, it looks like great. It looks
You would
like a
have
great
no
trip.
idea. I know. This looks
Hitler
like the
was
most
from
fun vacation.
Austria.
Jim, it's like everybody complains about America so bad, but it seems like there's no place better than America for a young black person or for a minority or marginalized
Without
person
a
than
doubt.
America.
They say America's so racist, and yet millions want to come here. If we're so racist and so horrible, we are the worst at it.
Yeah, we are better.
This is a great country.
It's really sad to hear this lady say, and I didn't see any black people. What are you thinking? It's like, these are human beings. You're a human being. They're human beings. Do you like them or not? Maybe on that basis, if you didn't like it, okay. But what's really strange about this entire way of thinking is it reveals how we have twisted minds in this country utilizing the political system. The reason that I'm very libertarian-minded and limited government-minded is get the government out of the freaking way, because they're constantly trying to run our culture rather than letting us figure out as citizens what it ought to be like.
And I'm not so libertarian where I don't think there should be rules and borders and stuff like that, but I do think that anytime the government gets involved in something, they're so incompetent that they only mess it up.
right.
So what is one thing that the government is good at? And do not say the military, because I think that we've lost our last few years. But what is, real quick, I want you guys to think, let Tony go first. What is something that the government is good at?
Roads.
Really?
They're not as, I mean, if you go to other countries, have you seen their roads?
I mean,
Our
I've been
roads
to
are pretty
Mexico.
decent.
Our roads are better than Mexico.
Our roads are pretty decent. Like, I actually love the toll road. Like, I hate paying
hate
for it, but the toll road is
See,
amazing.
Tony, you're insane.
Dude, have you been on, it's clean,
I live
it's
on the
safe,
toll road.
the
I live at Lovers in the toll road.
The toll road's beautiful.
It is good to drive.
great.
Jim, what's something the government does do well?
By definition, nothing. But what government ought
Dang
to
it,
do,
you took my answer.
what government ought to
I
do
got another one.
is run a good judicial system and have fairness.
But our judicial system sucks too.
It does. It's getting worse because of the politics. And so, so really, I always tell people I'm not an anarcho-capitalist, but I aspire to be. You know, it's like I don't want to really go there, honestly. And I love Javier Milei, but I don't want to really go there. We just need to do much less of what we do, because the inherent character of government is to suck. I mean, there's no incentive to do well.
What are you going to say? You're going to say you like the transgender surgeries that they do? On
Oh gosh, no. No, you know what America does really good, the government does really good at? It does a really good job at wiping away our identities. It does a really good job at messing up the fundamentals of this country.
Wait, time out. I like that you're on a little bit of a rant, but I feel like they only enforce our identities more, right? Don't they just break us down by race, sex, and gender?
Only certain identities they build up and they break down others. That's how they get a foothold. It's a horrible way of doing stuff, Alex. I mean, I think it's disgusting, personally.
You know what I think is disgusting, but I want you to do it. I want you to pretend that you're George Bush and that you admitted that you planned the terror attacks.
Okay. Can we get like a zoom in on my face?
Yeah. Can we get the handheld camera? Yes, please.
Yeah, because I got to do it like all serious.
Be
and
very
stuff.
serious and just apologize and be like, I made a mistake, had some bad information.
My fellow Americans, we fucked up. we did 9/11. We did. We went after the wrong people, and I'm not even from Texas. I'm from New England, so I pretty much lied about everything in my life. But I'm a damn good painter. There's that.
All right, that's pretty good. Wow, thank you, Mr. Bush. Dude, you're just spot on tonight. Okay, guys, we only have a few minutes left. This has been actually a great episode, Blake. You've done a good job, because you're with two, politicos right here, and you've held your own very well, Blake. I didn't know a lot about your background.
I'm more than just a clown. I also have some ideas.
What are some of those ideas?
I'm a conservative on the right side. I'm an everyday man. I work for a living, all centered around family. At the end of the day, it goes my Lord and Savior, it goes family, and then it goes everything else after that.
Do you smoke marijuana?
No, I do not smoke marijuana.
When's the last time you used crystal methamphetamine?
I never used crystal methamphetamine.
Not even one time?
No. As much as Heisenberg's, crystal was the bomb, yo, bitch. I didn't want to do it.
What about shrooms? You never done?
No, I never did shrooms. No, I did not want to go on that crazy ride.
What about ecstasy?
I mean, I only have natural ecstasy, you know, just accomplishing and being there for my family. That's the real
What about
ecstasy.
ketamine?
Ketamine, I've never even heard of that. That sounds like a prescription drug. Try ketamine.
He doesn't listen to Rogan. It's
Yeah,
obvious.
I listen to him every now and again. Fear Factor was great, by the way.
It was a good show, and you probably should start doing a little ketamine. Not that that's an endorsement for ketamine, but I think Blake, it might help his.
I don't know, horse tranquilizers. I mean, am I that strict?
Oh, and real quick, do you guys like to do your Blake? Real quick.
Yo.
Me here, take a banana. Do my face routine with me. This is. Have you seen the viral face routine?
Yes.
This is what I like to do, and this is not racist. I actually got in a lot of trouble for feeding an African American a banana, so I'm not going to feed it.
So I unpeel it, right?
You unpeel it, and then you take a little bite. And they say this is really good for your skin. So, Jim, how do you stay looking so young? You kind of age yourself earlier, but you do look like a young guy. You look like you're in your 50s. Are you in your 50s, right?
No comment.
All right, no comment. I'm saying you look young.
Yeah, 50s.
How do you stay young?
You know, I just love my wife with all my heart.
You don't smoke, you don't drink?
No, I smoke cigars.
Oh, good. See, I like that. See,
I like cigars.
He said, okay, so now you're smoking cigars over there.
I never said I didn't. You assume that, Alex.
Well, my friends that smoke cigars, they split them in half and they add marijuana to them. You don't smoke those type of cigars?
Nah, I don't do it like that, bro.
That banana was so gross that you just ate.
I don't care. It's good.
It is good. I mean, it's not bad. These are just from 2 days ago. But
I'm not a picky eater.
You ate the brown part. Either am I. I love this guy. Blake's a freaking hero. This guy's
I'm a conservative. We make do with what we got.
This guy's going to be my damn next co-host. This guy's great. Okay, Tony.
I'd be honored to.
Before we end the show, Tony, tell people where they can find you and how they can support you.
Yeah, currentrevolt.com. If you're a Texan, you should read us. It's like we're like a must follow for Texans. Currentrevolt.com or on X at currentrevolt.
Jim, same for you.
TheConservativeCaucus.org. Conservativecaucus.org. And then follow me at Jim Pfaff on X. Thanks for putting up there.
Blake James Genta on TikTok. Take a look, see some of my memes. I hope you like them.
You said your last name different that time.
Blake James Genta. I said James in my middle
You
name.
said James. That's why I got confused. All
He
right.
said Genta. He said Junta earlier.
It's Genta.
This guy, I don't even know.
My
We
name's
spent
easier
more
to say.
time on this than we did on the health issues.
I know, but
it's insane.
But you have an insane last name. But okay, Jim, now I want to ask you one last hard question. Sure. You worked for Thomas Massie. I love Donald Trump. I don't love that we're just bombing Yemen, and I'm not pro-Yemen. I'm just saying I'm anti-war. I'm kind of like, I don't know if I love this. So I feel like we should be able to critique our military, and I do respect our veterans. I feel like we should be able to critique our president, even though I voted for him and I love him. But is Donald Trump going to lose his base by endorsing Lindsey Graham and trying to alienate a guy like Thomas Massie, which he's been trying to alienate for now going on nearly 5 years since COVID, I believe, or 6 years. If you
It's a little bit longer than that.
A little bit longer than that. I'm saying, but really gone after him, said that, he should be primaried. Even though every time Thomas Massie is up for election, he dominates.
Yes.
He wins by record numbers. So is this going to hurt Donald Trump, a guy that is so popular, making, in my opinion, unpopular decisions when it comes to Lindsey Graham and Thomas Massie?
So I think the Lindsey Graham thing is actually, when I'm looking at my X timeline, I'm seeing a lot of people negatively talking about that endorsement. I don't think he does so much with Thomas Massie. And in my case, unfortunately, because there are a lot of MAGA people that just hate Thomas for opposing on certain things like he
Why?
does.
Because the CARES Act, everybody knew that
Listen,
was a
we need
fraud.
200 people like Thomas Massie.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand what they're mad about Thomas Massie. He's the only guy that stood up against the pandemic and all that funding and the slush fund and the waste and that. So it's like, I'm still, like, I want to be empathetic to Trump and be like, okay, what do we got? What's wrong with Massie? But I can't. And I've met Thomas Massie. I've talked to Thomas Massie. He's only been very professional, very kind to me. So I have the utmost respect. But I'm just trying to, like, is there something there that I'm not seeing?
He's it's wrong to go after him. He's a really decent guy, incredibly intelligent.
Brilliant, MIT guy.
Yeah, 30 patents.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. I'm pretty certain that my guess is 80% of members of Congress haven't read the Constitution.
Oh, of course.
Thomas Massie reads it all the time, all right? I mean, and consults it as he's thinking through things if maybe it wasn't off the top of his head. So uses it as a reference. That we want people like that in Congress. We need people like that.
We need, if we had 100 Thomas Massies as senators and then whatever, 450 or what is it, 460?
435.
435 congressmen and women like Thomas Massie, our country would actually probably be efficient in running instead of so inefficient and just horrible. I mean, I know that that's a little vague for me to say that, but our federal government, just the way they handled the pandemic, for a young person that's watching this, they've been making these mistakes over and over and over and over, and it just seems like, what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I do not see the government ever not being insane.
Agreed. I totally agree.
Well, we got to fix it. Everybody, go support my guy, Jim Pfaff. He's the president of the Conservative Caucus. And how do they support that, though? What's the best way they can do that?
There's a donate button online there, and also sign up if you'd like to get active. We have an entire suite of training to help people be active in their area.
And Tony, what is it? Current Revolt's free, but what is it to get behind the paywall?
It's $8 a month.
$8 a month. You want to support that? And then Blake, your OnlyFans is how much?
0 again.
It's free.
It's free. Okay, it's free. So you get to see
it's
Blake
not free. I
Butthole
don't
for
have
free,
one.
apparently. No, we're kidding. Blake's a good Christian young man. That is a joke. This is entertainment purposes only. And if you're doing OnlyFans, please stop. It's not good for your health. All right, guys, that's been our show. We something I can't really get into at this moment, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be in New Jersey this weekend for an ongoing issue that I have to handle in that area. So I was supposed to be at the Grifties. Potentially, I'm not going to be at the Grifties anymore, so I apologize to anybody that bought tickets and expected to see me. But I will be in Connecticut April 10th at the University of Connecticut, UConn, and I'll also be in Las Vegas April 26th through the 28th if you guys want to come hang out. And I'll also be at, where else am I going? UConn, Clemson. And I'm going to Clemson University. So if you guys want to check that out, follow me on Twitter for updates. I love you guys. We end the show the same way every time with the freestyle finale. So freestyle as a Chinese guy real quick, Blake.
Have a good evening and have a good time.
No, just start now.
Okay, have a good evening and have a good time. Okay, now.
I miss. All right, guys, that's been our show. I love Blake, I love Jim, and I love Tony. Go get some support. I'm a pinball and flip. Always eat steak and shrimp. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.